Don't Smile at Me. Eilish first gained public attention in 2015 with her debut single Ocean Eyes, which was released on SoundCloud and written and produced by her brother Phineas O'Connell. The song was originally written for Phineas's band, but when Billie's dance teacher needed a track for choreography, Phineas gave it to his sister instead. Uploaded to SoundCloud almost as an afterthought, Ocean Eyes exploded overnight, its dreamy production and Billie's ethereal vocals captivating listeners who couldn't believe the voice belonged to a 13-year-old. 2 years later, Don't Smile at Me was commercially successful, reaching number 14 on the US Billboard 200 and number 12 on the UK Albums Chart. It entered the top 10 in many other countries, including Lithuania, where it reached number 1. Watch the 8-track EP, written entirely by Billie and Phineas and produced in his tiny bedroom, introduced the world to their unique creative partnership. The irresistible hooks and haunting vocals of bedroom production Ocean Eyes made Los Angeles teen Billie Eilish an internet sensation. This debut EP nudges things along nicely with its minimalist beats and lifting yet sinister lyricism. Tracks like Copycat brought hip-hop-influenced aggression, while I Don't Wanna Bay You Anymore showcased soulful vulnerability beyond her years. Bellyache held a surrealist, macabre edge beneath its infectious pop exterior, a teenager singing about burying bodies with unsettling calm. Hostage closed the original track list with dark, intimate intensity. The EP became a sleeper hit, slowly climbing the charts over the course of a year. In early 2019, Eilish became the youngest artist to hit 1 billion streams on Spotify with Don't Smile at Me. The project established the Eilish blueprint: bedroom-produced, genre-blurring, emotionally raw music that sounded like nothing else on radio. It proved that two siblings with a laptop and a vision could compete with major label machines. When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? Is the debut studio album by American singer and songwriter Billie Eilish. It was released on March 29, 2019 by Darkroom and Interscope Records. Eilish, age 17 at the time of release, largely wrote the album with her brother Phineas O'Connell, who produced it at his small bedroom studio in Highland Park, Los Angeles. This debut full-length arrived with massive anticipation following the EP's global success. Diane somehow exceeded every expectation. Musically, When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? Is an electropop, avant-pop, and art pop record, though it also features influences from hip-hop and industrial music. Its songs explore themes such as modern youth, drug addiction, heartbreak, suicide, and mental health, with lyrical sensibilities of humor and horror. Eilish said the album was inspired in part by lucid dreaming and night terrors, which are reflected in the deliberately eerie cover photo showing her sitting on a bed with white, pupilless eyes. The album opens with Billie removing her Invisalign retainer and laughing, a disarming, irreverent moment that signals nothing about this project will be conventional. Bad Guy became the defining song of 2019, and its bass-heavy minimalism and Billie's taunting whisper creating an inescapable earworm. Bad Guy became Eilish's first single to debut in the top 10 of Billboard Hot 100, peaking at number 1. With Bad Guy, she became the first artist born in the 21st century and third Gen Z artist to have a number 1 song on the Hot 100. Bury a Friend showcased the album's horror-influenced production with its distorted vocals and industrial percussion, while When the Party's Over stripped everything back to just Billie's voice and a sparse piano arrangement, revealing devastating vulnerability. Zanny addressed the pressure to conform to party culture, and Wish You Were Gay offered a clever twist on unrequited love. All the Good Girls Go to Hell tackled environmental destruction through darkly theatrical imagery, while Listen Before I Go confronted suicidal ideation with unflinching honesty. Eilish conquered the 4 major categories of the award show, including Album of the Year, Song of the Year, Record of the Year, and Best New Artist at the 62nd Grammy Awards. She is the second artist and only female in Grammy history to win all 4 general field categories in a singular ceremony, also becoming the youngest ever winner of both Album of the Year and Record of the Year. The album opened at number 1 in 15 countries and sold over 7 million copies worldwide. It changed the sound of pop music, proving that dark, whispered, bedroom-produced art could dominate mainstream charts. Countless artists followed Eilish's lead into quieter, more atmospheric production, but none replicated the original's haunting authenticity. Want Happier Than Ever. Happier Than Ever is the second studio album by American singer and songwriter Billie Eilish, released by Darkroom and Interscope Records on July 30th, 2021. Eilish co-wrote the album with her brother and frequent collaborator Phineas O'Connell, who also produced the album and played every instrument. After the whirlwind of her debut era, Grammys, global tours, a James Bond theme, Eilish retreated inward for a sophomore album that addressed the cost of everything she'd achieved. Eilish cited self-reflection during the COVID-19 pandemic as the biggest inspiration for the record. Primarily a down-tempo pop record, Happier Than Ever is characterized by sparse, jazz-influenced electropop arrangements set to meditative tempos, departing from the upbeat, trap-led sound of Eilish's debut album. Where her first album thrived on sonic aggression and horror imagery, Happier Than Ever embraced restraint, drawing inspiration from jazz legends like Julie London and Frank Sinatra. Consisting of torch songs about the downsides of stardom, Happier Than Ever draws heavily from Eilish's rise to fame and the drawbacks that come with it. Getting Older opened with a weary meditation on how fame had warped her sense of self. Therefore, I Am dismissed critics and haters over a dark electropop beat. Your Power delivered a gentle acoustic ballad about exploitation in relationships, its soft delivery making the message hit harder. Oxytocin brought pulsating club energy, while Billy Bossa Nova embraced its namesake genre with sultry sophistication. The title track became the album's crown jewel, beginning as a soft, our mournful breakup ballad before erupting into a full-blown punk rock explosion of rage and catharsis. Critics praised it as one of the most dynamic and emotionally powerful songs of the decade. NDA explored the suffocating loss of privacy, while Male Fantasy closed the album with quiet devastation about heartbreak and disillusionment. Upon release, the album received acclaim from music critics, who praised its stylistic, restrained production and insightful lyrics. It debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200 with 238,000 equivalent album units. Happier Than Ever went straight to number 1 in the US, UK, and several other territories. The album showcased an artist who refused to repeat the formula that made her famous, instead maturing both vocally and thematically in ways that surprised even her most devoted fans. What Hit Me Hard and Soft. Hit Me Hard and Soft is the third studio album by American singer and songwriter Billie Eilish, released on May 17, 2024, through Darkroom and Interscope Records. She co-wrote the album with her brother and frequent collaborator Phineas O'Connell, who also produced the record. Stylistically, it has been labeled as an alternative pop and bedroom pop record. In a bold move, Eilish announced the album would have no traditional singles rollout. She wanted listeners to experience all 10 tracks together as a cohesive body of work. The decision reflected her growing confidence as an artist who prioritized artistic vision over marketing strategy. She wrote on social media that she and Phineas truly could not be more proud of this album and wanted to give it to you all at once. Upon release, Hit Me Hard and Soft received universal acclaim from critics, praising the production, songwriting, and vocal performances. It topped the charts in over 20 countries, including Australia, Canada, Germany, Ireland, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom. Lunch arrived as the lead single, a playful and confident track where Eilish openly explored her queerness with humor and swagger. Birds of a Feather became a slow-burning phenomenon, its soaring melody and tender lyrics about enduring love, transforming it into her biggest song since Bad Guy. Skinny opened the album with raw acoustic vulnerability, Eilish reflecting on body image and identity with painful honesty. Chihiro built from whispered intimacy into sweeping cinematic production, while Wildflower explored the guilt of falling for a friend's ex with folk pop delicacy. The Greatest showcased Eilish's most powerful vocal performance to date, and Blue closed the album with a meditative reflection that circled back to its opening themes. On its release day, Hit Me Hard and Soft received 72.7 million streams on Spotify globally, becoming her biggest streaming debut on the platform. The album debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200 with 339,000 album equivalent units, marking the singer-songwriter's best-selling week ever. Birds of a Feather was the most streamed song in 2024 and the second most streamed song in 2025. The song broke records for the fastest to reach 2 and 3 billion streams on Spotify. On March 1st, 2026, the album crossed 10 billion streams on Spotify, becoming the fastest album by a female artist to reach the mark in the platform's history. At the 67th Annual Grammy Awards, the album and its songs received a total of 7 nominations, including Album of the Year, Best Pop Vocal Album, Song of the Year, and Record of the Year. At the following ceremony, Wildflower won Song of the Year, making Eilish and Phineas the artists with the most wins in the category in Grammy history, with 3 Song of the Year victories. Her accolades include 2 Academy Awards, 10 Grammy Awards, 9 American Music Awards, 20 Guinness World Records, 8 MTV Video Music Awards, 4 Brit Awards, and 2 Golden Globe Awards. Hit Me Hard and Soft represents Eilish at her most artistically liberated, an artist no longer defined by the darkness of her debut or the introspection of her sophomore album, but embracing the full spectrum of human experience. The album moves seamlessly between playful confidence, devastating vulnerability, cinematic grandeur, and quiet intimacy, all held together by the unmistakable creative bond between 2 siblings who have been making music together since childhood. From a 15-year-old's bedroom recordings on SoundCloud to 10 Grammy Awards, 2 Oscars, and over 76 billion career streams worldwide, Billie Eilish's discography tells the story of an artist who has consistently refused to repeat herself while remaining unmistakably authentic. Each project represents not just musical evolution, but personal transformation. A teenager confronting her nightmares, a young woman reckoning with fame's toll, and an artist fully embracing who she is. With her brother Phineas beside her, Eilish has proven that the most powerful music doesn't need stadiums or orchestras. Sometimes all it takes is a small room, a laptop, and the courage to be completely honest